In this video we will add some controls and we will try to perform validation for data entered by the user by using ASP.NET. In ASP.NET, to perform validation there are some predefined controls called validation controls. So we will be using these validation controls in the exercise. So first of all, we have to open Visual Studio in administrator mode so that we can create website and deploy it in IIS server. So let us go to Windows, search box, Visual Studio, right click Visual Studio, run as administrator, click yes. Let us close the previous instance. It was not open using administrator privileges. Let us close this. So this is a new instance open with run as administrator. Let us create a website. File, new, website. So .NET Framework 4.5, C#, ASP.NET website. Location is HTTP. Let us give a name, validation. Okay. Let us click OK. So this will create an empty ASP.NET website. In the Solution Explorer, right click the website node, select add and add new item. From the add new item dialog box, select C#, select web form, click add. So we have a web page. So in the web page we'll go to design mode, we'll go to view, toolbox. Let us add labels, text boxes, validation controls and a button. It is taking some time because I have updated Visual Studio. So my current version is Visual Studio 2013 update 2. So it is adding some controls to the toolbox. Now let us add a button. Let us add a label for first name, last name, address, label for pin code, label for phone number, label for password, label for retype password, label for age, and we'll add text boxes. First name, last name, address, phone number, pin code, password, retype password, age. So we'll arrange them first of all. So go to source mode. So our first label is nothing but first name label. Second label, this is last name label. So I'll give this as address, and this is pin code, this is phone number, this is password, and this is retype password, and this is for age. Now this text box, this is for first name, and this is for last name, this is for address, this is for pin code, this is for phone number, this is for password, this is for retype password, this is for age. Let us save this. And for the button, ID is submit button, and the text is submit. So I'll copy the button, I'll paste it in the last. Now I'll organize these controls properly. So address after address label, pin code after pin code label, phone number after phone number label, password after password label, retype password after retype password label, and this is for age. Now we'll add them inside a table. So this is our table. So here I'll add a row. So for each set of controls, I'm enclosing them inside a row. And this is one row. Now we'll use TD to create cell for each control inside the row. So in this video we will arrange controls properly, so that in the next video we can concentrate on validation in ASP.NET. Otherwise, if you include both the things in a single video, it will be a lengthy video and we won't be able to cover how to organize controls. So that will be difficult for anyone who is trying to learn or trying to view the video for the first time. So I'm designing as well as coding from the beginning so that it is easy for anybody by watching the video. So I'm creating a cell for each control inside the row. Now save it, go to design mode. So let us try to run this. Debug, start with the debugging. So if everything is right, all the controls will be arranged properly. Yes, they are arranged properly. Now let us add validation controls in the same video. So for that I will add one more cell, TD. So here I will add validation control ASP colon required field validator. So this is a required field validator. So I will add a validation required field validator. For each and every control. We have to give an ID. For each required field validator. So for button we don't require required field validator. Let us go to design mode. It is showing some errors. Let us run this. Okay, so there are no errors in the runtime, but here it is giving an error in design mode. It is saying that no runnet server attribute is specified. Let us go to source and specify runnet is equal to server. Let us copy this, apply it for each required field validator. So basically required field validator will verify and make sure that the data is entered or not. It will not validate the entered data, but it will make sure that data is entered in all the controls. So now it is giving a new error. Previously it was saying that there was no runnet equal to server, but now since we have given runnet equal server, it is saying that control to validate property is not mentioned. So these validation controls will try to validate a specific control. So we forgot to make a link between that control and the validation control. So this is our first required field validator. So this is control to validate attribute. Here I have to specify the text box which I want to validate by using this required field validator. I'll copy this, I'll paste it here. This is last name, or I'll just copy this control to validate, I'll paste it here. Address, I'll copy this control to validate, I'll paste it here. This is pin code, this is control to validate, I'll paste it here. This is phone number, this is control to validate, and I'll paste it here. and this should be password text box. Password text box. So I'll copy this ID, I'll paste it here, and I'll copy this control to validate, paste it here, and the text box is retype password. Copy this, paste it here, and copy control to validate, paste it here. This is text box age. Now save this, go to design mode. There are no errors. Let us try to run this. Now there is an error here. Web forms unobtrusive validation mode requires script resource mapping for jQuery. Please add script resource mapping named jQuery, case sensitive. Let us identify the error. So there is a problem here. It is saying that please add script resource mapping named jQuery. So for that, what we have to do is open web.config file, add this application setting. So this is application setting that we have to add to the configuration file. So app settings, add key, validation settings, colon, unobtrusive validation mode, value equal to none. After that, closing app settings, save this, compile this, and run the example again. So this time we won't have any errors. If you don't write that tag in web.config file, you will get this error. So let us continue from here, minimize this. Now go to default.aspx. Now we'll specify error message for each required field validator. Error message, please enter first name. So this is the error message for first name validation. This is error message for last name and address. This is error message for address, and this is error message for pin code. This is error message for phone number, and error message for password, and error message for retype password, and error message for age. Let us save this, go to build, recompile this, go to debug, start with the debug. So if you click the button, so you have the corresponding error messages. So instead of displaying error messages to the right of the text box, we can display star, and we can display the error message below after the button. For that, we will add a validation summary. We'll come to that, but for displaying star, write down text is equal to star. Let us check it once. Click here. So we have star, but message is not displayed since we did not use any validation summary control. We'll come to that. So we'll write star for each and every required field validator. So for address, for pin code, for phone number, for password, for retype password, for age. Now compile this, go to debug, start with a debug. Now press submit. So you have stars for each and every text box. Now to display error message, let us try it once again. So we have star. Now to display error messages below, we'll add a row, one more row. We'll add a cell. Inside the cell we will add validation summary. Server. That's it. Now save this, debug, start without debugging. Now click here. So we have stars as well as we have error messages. So we'll enter some data here, some data. Okay, now click the button. So we have error message only for this first text box. Now if you remove this, now you have error messages for the second text box. Click the button, so you'll get error message in the validation summary for the second text box. Now remove some data here. Now you got star here. Click the button. You have error message for retype password also. So in this way we can arrange controls. We can display error messages beside the text box, or instead of displaying error messages beside the text box, we can display star and display all the error messages below the button by using validation summary. Okay, now so first name, last name, address, they just require required field validator. Pin code requires another validation control. We'll see that what it is. Phone number also requires another validation control. Password also requires another validation control. Retype password also requires another validation control. Age also requires another validation control. So we'll make necessary modifications. Now the first one is pin code. So pin code, here we'll add one more TD SL. So I'm adding one more validation control called regular expression validator. What is it? A regular expression validator. So this will help us to validate the pin code. So this is run net equal to server error message. I'll give the error as enter US pin code, and here I'll call this as text star. Save this, and we require regular expression for phone number also. So I'll copy this, I'll add one more cell, I'll paste it here, enter US phone number, so what is the regular expression that you have to specify here? Validation expression. So this is the attribute that you have to specify, validation expression. So here what is the expression that you have to specify? So for that we'll go to design mode, Let us save this here. Now go to design mode. So this is regular expression validator. Select it, press F4, it will open the properties. So here you have validation expression property. Now click the button. Now I want to validate US zip code, that is US pin code. So this is a regular expression for the US pin code. Select it. So it is applied. So go to source. So validation expression is applied for pin code. In a similar manner, go to design mode. Select this regular. Okay. This is a regular expression validator. Go to validation expression. Click the button. So this is for US phone number. Click OK. Now save this. Go to source mode. So this is a regular expression for US phone number. This is a regular expression for US PIN number. Let us save this. Compile them. Let us try to run. So it is saying that control to valid property cannot be blank. So we'll go here. This is control to valid, and the control is text box pin code. Paste it here, and here control to valid is text box phone number. Now compile this. Go to design mode. Now click submit. So you have errors. We'll try to enter some data. So this time it is giving separate error for pin code and phone number. So it is asking us to enter US phone number and US pin code. So we'll see that how to do that. Now let us keep it like this. Now we'll compare this password and retype password, and also age. So here we have to add one more validation control for password, that is retype password. You can add it for password or retype password. So you have to compare these two controls so that both of them have the same value. So here I am adding a cell ASP colon compare validator. So this is a compare validator. Run it equal to server. Control to valid is text box retype password. Control to value to compare, not value to compare, it is control to validate is text box password. Okay, so control to compare is text box retype password. Control to validate is text box password. Now we'll give an error message here. Error message, enter same password. Go to design mode, save here, go to source mode. Now we'll apply the text property so that instead of message we get star. Save it here, go to design mode, so we have star. Now let us try to run this. Click here, get some errors here. So password and retype password are not same, so it is asking us to enter the same value. So DSAD. So now since they are same, error is gone. So we have only these two errors now. We'll see how to enter these codes, that is US pin code and US phone number, later. Now we'll also compare age. So for age we will add a cell and we will add a validation control, compare validation control, run it server, control to validate is text box age, value to compare is 18, operator is greater than equal and type is integer. So it is an integer value, it should be greater than or equal to 18. Okay, so we are comparing the value with 18, whether it is greater than or equal to 18 or not. Now let us try to add text property, error message and text property. Error message, age should be greater than or equal to 18 and text is equal to star. Design mode. Now let us try to run this. So click here. So we have errors here. Enter some values. So let us enter the same value here. S D F D S F. Now age I'll enter 17. So it is an error. I'll enter 18. Error is gone. If I enter 16, again you have an error. If you enter 18, error is gone. If you enter 15, you get the error. If it is greater than 18 also, no problem, error is gone. Okay. Now let us see and validate pin code and phone number for US. Let us try to run it again. Debug, start with the debugging. So press enter. I'll enter some names. So this is US pin code 12345 and phone number is, password, some password ABC and ABC, age 19. Click here. So the errors are gone. Okay. So this is how we can perform validation using ASP.NET validation controls in ASP. In ASP we have two more validation controls. One is custom validation control, the other one is dynamic validation. We'll see them later, but the basic structure is this. So you have to add controls, you have to add validation controls, you have to make association between controls and validation controls using control to validate property. You have to specify error message, you can specify text property, you can use validation summary. Okay, so all these things are possible. And this is all for today. Thank you.